Welcome again to Joe Stunner Boxing. I want to talk a bit about Andy Cruz, who you may know is an Olympic gold medalist, incredibly impressive amateur, 140 wins and 9 defeats, had about 4 victories over Keyshawn Davis, who is another, hot prospect. But Cruz signed to Matchroom, DAZN, Eddie Hearn, big acquisition for Hearn. Whether Cruz can become a big star who transcends the sport remains to be seen. You can get brilliant fighters who aren't always big cash cows, but there's no doubt that Cruz potentially is a tremendously, potentially a potential great. I mean, he's got the raw materials to be a Hall of Fame fighter by the end of his professional career. But nothing's assured. Nothing is assured, of course. There have been people who've turned pro, having had glittering amateur careers, and their professional careers have been a bust. But clearly Matchroom have faith in Andy Cruz, because at the weekend he makes his pro debut against Juan Carlos Burgos of Mexico, who has 35 wins with 21 knockouts, 7 defeats and 3 draws. None of those 7 defeats were inside the distance. They're all points defeats. Burgos has seen better days. Oddly enough, his last fight, he lost an 8-round decision to Keyshawn Davis. But make no mistake about it, for a guy making his debut, this smacks of, Loma. His second fight was against Salido, wasn't it? And he lost that one. But clearly they're trying to sort of fast-track Cruz in the same way that Lomachenko was fast-tracked. And this is for the IBF International Lightweight title, which is not much of a belt to hold, except that it gets you a ranking. So after one fight, Cruz could get a ranking out of this, which is a big deal. Cruz is I think he's 28 now. Glittering amateur career. Burgos, 35, so fair bit older, but tough as old boots. If you look at Burgos's record, apart from Davis, which was his last fight, he lost the 10-rounder to Devin Haney back in 2018. He's had a lot. I think about 6 of his defeats have come in his last 10. Put it that way, and he's got 3 draws as well. I mean, he had a split draw with Roman Martinez back in 2013. Cesar Vasquez beat him in 3 rounds. And Vasquez at the time was undefeated. Lost to Mikey Garcia when Garcia was undefeated. That was in 2014. So he's been around the block, but he's coming to the end of a very decent career. And certainly, Burgos has held titles like the WBC silver title, which he won from Cristobal Cruz. He's never quite been to the very top, to the very summit, but he is a good, tough fighter, and certainly a big test for someone who is making their debut. I mean, God, this is also, by the way, a 10-rounder. Which it's not an 8-rounder. The previous fight that Burgos had was an 8-rounder with Keyshawn Davis. This is a 10-rounder. So Hearn and Matchroom are starting Cruz off in 10-rounders for minor belts to get them a ranking. Clearly they're out to sort of get this guy a world title fight, a proper world title fight within 4 or 5 fights. That's a lot of faith to have in a guy. But Cruz, as an amateur, I mean, I don't follow the amateur game as much as I do the professional game, not nearly as much. So I'm kind of a bit of a casual, to be honest, with the amateur game. But Cruz and a few others have, Moses Otama was another one. You can't not notice them. They stand out so well. And Andy Cruz's amateur career, if you look at the people he faced, I mean, it's pretty shocking. He sort of tore the place up, absolutely destroyed everyone. And yeah, I mean, I gotta say, it's very, very impressive that he's going in for a 10-rounder in his first fight against such an established fighter, such an established tough guy who's gonna take him rounds. I mean, I would be very surprised if Cruz stopped Burgos. He's never been stopped before. If he does, I mean, that's a statement. I mean, it really is a statement. But yeah, it's on this weekend. It's on obviously the DAZN show, Matchroom show. Take a look at it. Tell me what you think. Do you think that Cruz has been fast-tracked too quickly? I don't, to be honest with you. He's 27, 28 now. I ain't got a problem with him being fast-tracked. He's got so much talent, and he wants to as well. And I know sometimes what fighters want, it doesn't necessarily, it's not necessarily the right thing for them. But I think with Cruz, he's going to sort of exude a sort of professional, wise beyond his years demeanour in the ring, under the big lights, having been a Olympic champion and everything. I don't think there'll be a problem with that. I think he will look the part, and he'll look like he's been a professional for many years. But it will be interesting to see how he deals with Burgos. I think it's a really interesting matchup. Anyway, leave your comments below. Let me know what you think. And of course, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Hit the subscribe button, that would be a big deal. And the like button if you don't mind, that would help us out. It takes a second. And yeah, I'll read your comments and answer them in time. So we've got the weekend coming up, bit of boxing on, can't be bad. Speak again soon. Bye bye for now.